Good morning, Bimblers, and you join me on the fabulous Wirral. It's a lovely sunny day today. I'm not going to get many more of these. So I thought we'd go down the UK's longest promenade. But it's quite controversial. Is it the UK's longest promenade? New Brighton Council say that it's 2 miles long, and that would make Blackpool Promenade longer than it. Other people say it's 5.3 miles long, and another group of people say that it's 9 miles long. That would make it the longest in Europe. Either way, it's a nice bike ride, so we should stop messing about and bimble.
It's yours, just wait. You do your best along the way. But it's those arms that told me I don't care if it's yours or mine. Without you, it's just a waste of time. You showed me from the start such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be ours. Get lost along the way.
This is Wallacey Town Hall, at least it was. It used to be the home of Wirral Council up until 2023. Not sure what they do here these days. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. It was designed by a group of architects known as Briggs, Woolston, Home and Thornley, according to my new official big book of Bimble, available at Bimblism Live. That would be Frank Briggs, Harry Vernon Woolston Home, and Sir Arnold Thornley. They're the partnership that designed the Mersey Docks and Harbour Board offices over the water in that Liverpool. The most famous architect in that trio was Sir Arnold Thornley. He designed the Parliament over in Belfast and Preston Town Hall, and he extended the Walker Art Gallery over in that Liverpool. Wallacey Town Hall was finished off in 1916, with the foundation stone being laid in 1914 by King George V. But it didn't open as a town hall straight away. It was originally used as a hospital during World War I. Lest we forget that 1.6 million men in the UK were injured during World War I, and they actually treated 3,500 men here at Wallacey Town Hall. It was officially opened as the Town Hall in 1920. Let's bimble.
Without you it wasn't meant to be. You showed me from the start such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you, heart to hold you. I don't care, you can say what you like. I'm a peace-loving person, but I know I'm right. It's as easy as right from wrong. I'm a lover, not a fighter, so I wrote this song. You showed me from the start such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you, heart to hold you down. From the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round. It could be yours. Big aspirations need a heart to hold you, heart to hold you down.
And so, Bimblers, we reach our next stop on this record-breaking promenade. And this stop actually gives the promenade its name. We started out at Seacombe Promenade, which became Egremont Promenade, and this is Magazine's Promenade. It's got nothing to do with the Radio Times or your mum's copy of Bella. It's magazines as in stores, and they used to store ammunition here. In 1854, it was proposed that a fort should be built to store all the ammunition coming into Liverpool. When the merchant ships came in, they they would have to drop off all the gunpowder and guns. That was to stop smugglers and pirates and things. Security was tight on the River Mersey, as you'll find out when we get to New Brighton. More on that in a bit. There would have been a turret at each corner of the magazine, and every turret would have been equipped with guns capable of firing 10-inch shells, called SB shells. They were made out of solid copper, designed to sink your ship. So if you didn't give them your guns and your gunpowder, they'd sink you in the River Mersey. It was used for its original purpose right up until 1894, at which point they just used it for training. In 1912 it was sold off in an auction, and it was bought by the Liverpool Yacht Club for £1,620. Seems like a bit of a bargain to me. In 1935 they sold it on, and they flattened it off and built houses on it. But the original portcullis still remains. Grade 2 listed, you know. Let's bimble.
Washed in clean by a riverside. They told you the news.
Oddly, for a video about what you might find on the UK's longest promenade, we're going to talk about things that aren't here anymore. Things that have been bulldozed and demolished. We've turned off Tower Promenade here in New Brighton to come and see where New Brighton Tower used to be. That's right, New Brighton used to have a tower, just the same as Blackpool has a tower. In fact, New Brighton Tower was taller than Blackpool Tower. It was 173 metres tall, whereas Blackpool Tower is 158 metres tall. It was opened in 1900 and would have given stunning views of the Mersey estuary, which you still get today just climbing up the hill. But I'm sure it would have been impressive. Between 1919 and 1921, it was dismantled. You see, everyone that could have fixed it was away fighting in the First World War. So they dismantled the tower and just left the ballroom underneath, because they had a ballroom underneath, just the same as Blackpool Tower has a ballroom. In fact, the Beatles played there 27 times. But in 1969, that burnt down, and it was demolished and turned into a football field and a skate park. Just over the way from the New Brighton Tower would have been New Brighton Pier, opened in 1867. It would have been 180 metres long, and it cost £30,000 to build. That's more like £3 million in today's money. It was designed by a chap called Eugenus Perch. He's the fellow who designed North Pier in Blackpool, and Margate Pier and Eastbourne Pier. He also designed the East India Railway and the aquarium in Brighton. That's Brighton down south, not New Brighton. Unfortunately, that pier was closed in 1972 and demolished in 1978. It was knackered. But as well as both of those things, New Brighton would have had the UK's largest Lido, a Lido being an outdoor swimming pool. That was opened in 1934 by the Viscount Leverhulme. That's the son of William Hesketh Lever, who set up Lever Brothers, which is now Unilever. New Brighton Lido cost £90,000 in 1934, which in today's money is more like £5.5 million. But in 1990, it was hit by a storm, 100-mile-an-hour winds and 13 million gallons of seawater. It was deemed too costly to fix, so they demolished it and built a Morrison's instead. Very handy for the cafe. But that's enough about what's not here in New Brighton. What have they got left? Let's bimble.
If only you knew. I've heard what they've said, ignored what I read, and looked to the bright side. So here's to the bad times, forgotten in good lives.
I told you we were going to visit the first line of defence of the port of Liverpool, and this is it, Fort Perch Rock. It was built between 1825 and 1829, out of Runcorn sandstone. The building work was all overseen by a Captain John Sykes Kitson. According to my big book of Bimble, the estimated cost of this fortress was supposed to be £27,065 and 8 old pence. And Captain Kitson managed to do it for 100 quid less. If we adjust for inflation, Fort Perch Rock would have cost £2.5 million. And Captain Kitson saved him 10 grand. Can't see where he cut any corners. Around the back of Fort Perch Rock, you'll find Perch Rock Lighthouse, which was actually supposed to be built inside the fortress, but for some reason they built it just round the back. It replaced a wooden lighthouse which was erected in 1683, and it was designed by a chap called John Foster Jr. He was the last of the surveyors employed by the Liverpool Corporation, and the surveyor before him was John Foster Sr., his dad. John Foster Sr. designed St Luke's Church in Liverpool, that's the bombed out one, as well as Liverpool Town Hall. And John Foster Jr. designed St James's Cemetery and St Andrew's Church on Rodney Street. The lighthouse was decommissioned in 1973, but when the tide's out, you can walk right up to it and have a good look at a lovely lighthouse. Back in the day before the tides changed around here, it would have all been surrounded by water, including the fortress. The only way you could have got over here was to either swim or come in your boat. Speaking of where the tide used to get up to, let's go down the promenade a bit further. Let's Bimble.
And look to the bright side. So here's to the bad times, forgotten in good lives. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, well, they won't turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Left too long in the passing time. You know what you know to be true. Dim-lit scenes of a better life.
I'm actually sat underneath the promenade right now, Bimblers. Really getting into this UK's longest promenade. But we've come to something called the Red Noses. That's the point where the tide used to reach here in New Brighton, before they built the sea defences and the promenade. And the tides changed in the Mersey estuary. The fields in front of the Red Noses are called the Dips, and there's a tunnel going underneath the promenade, which is where we're sat right now. The Dips are actually a country park, so sometimes they have motorsport racing on, and circuses. And speaking of circuses, it's right near the sign for New Brighton, which of course is a clown. That apparently cost £25,000. The people of New Brighton weren't very happy about that. It was designed by a woman called Susan Disley, and it's called the Piero. But anyway, that's enough of being underneath the promenade. We need to get to the end of it. Let's Bimble.
Dim-lit scenes of a better life. Spoken in loud tones to you. Well, I've heard what they've said, ignored what I read, and looked to the bright side. So here's to the bad times, forgotten in good lives. I won't let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, but they won't turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news. the bad times, forgotten in good lives. I will let you down. I'll take off my shoes and dance to the good news. Broken smiles, but they won't turn it round. So take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news. Take off your shoes and dance to the good news.
Well, Bimblers, that's the end of the promenade as far as I'm concerned. It ceases to be paved and becomes a sandy path. And if we're going to count sandy paths, then the Welsh Coastal Path, that would be the longest promenade in the UK. It's certainly longer than 2 miles in my opinion. But I suppose what they're thinking about is whether there's a sea defence in the way. And some railings. Is that what makes a promenade? I'm not sure. The world's longest promenade is supposed to be in Lanzarote. That's 16 miles long. But I'm not sure that has a fence all the way down it. If this is the UK's longest promenade, then why isn't Blackpool the UK's longest promenade? You can get all the way from Stargate in Blackpool to Fleetwood on something that I would call a promenade. I suppose we'll never know. And it's nice anyway, so we'll just say that this is the UK's longest promenade until we get some official adjudication. Where's Norris McWhirter when you need him?